Euphrates-River drying up. Iraq. Throughout the marshes, the reed gathers, standing on land they once floated over, cry out to visitors in a passing boat. There is no water, they shout, holding up their rusty sickles. The Euphrates River is drying up rapidly and strangled by the water policies of Iraq's neighbors, Turkey and Syria. A 2-year drought that is worsening, and years of misuse by Iraq and its farmers. The river is significantly smaller than it was just a few years ago, and some officials worry it could soon be half of what it is now. The shrinking of the Euphrates, a river so crucial to the birth of civilization, with the book of Revelation prophesied its drying up as a sign of the end times. Again, a river so crucial to the birth of civilization, with the book of Revelation prophesied its drying up as a sign of the end times, last days. And it has decimated farms along its banks, has left fishermen impoverished, and has depleted riverside towns as farmers flee to the cities looking for work. Of course, the poor suffer more acutely, but all members of society are feeling the effects. Sheiks, diplomats, and even members of parliament who retreat to their farms after weeks in Baghdad. Along the river, rice and wheat fields have turned to baked dirt. Canals have dwindled to shallow streams, and many fishing boats sit on dry land. Pumps meant to feed water treatment plants dangle pointlessly over brown puddles. The elders of the old men say it's the worst that they can remember, said one fisherman, sitting in a riverside cafe full of his idle colleagues. He said, I'm depending on God's blessings, although maybe they have been withdrawn. The drought is very widespread in Iraq. The area planted with wheat and barley in the rain-fed north is down roughly 95% from the usual. The date palm and citrus orchards of the east are parched. For 2 years, rainfall has been far below normal, leaving the reservoirs dry, and American officials predict that wheat and barley output will be a little over half of what it was just 2 years ago. The climate is changing. The weather has changed. It is a crisis that threatens the roots of Iraq's identity, not only as a land between two rivers, but as a nation that was once the largest exporter of dates in the world, that once supplied German beer with barley, and that takes patriotic pride in its expensive Anbar rice. But now, Iraq is importing more and more grain. Farmers along the river say, with anger and despair, that they may have to abandon Anbar rice for much cheaper varieties. Of course, droughts are not rare in Iraq, although officials say they have been much more frequent in recent years. But drought is only part of what is choking the Euphrates and its larger, healthier twin, the Tigris. The most frequently cited culprits are the Turkish and Syrian governments. Iraq has plenty of water, but it is a downstream country. There are at least 7 dams on the river in Turkey and Syria, according to Iraqi water officials, and with no treaties or agreements. The Iraqi government is reduced to begging its neighbors for water. At a conference in Baghdad, where participants drank bottled water from Saudi Arabia, a country with a fraction of Iraq's fresh water, the officials spoke of disaster. "We have a real thirst in Iraq," said the Minister of Planning. "Our agriculture is going to die. Our cities are going to wilt, and no state can keep quiet in such a situation." With the Euphrates showing few signs of increasing health, bitterness over Iraq's water threatens to be a source of tension for months or even years to come between Iraq and its neighbors. "There used to be water everywhere," said one man, sitting in his reed hut on a dry, rocky plot of land outside Karbala. "This year, it's just a desert," he said. "Along the river, there's no shortage of resentment at the Turks and Syrians, but there is also deep resentment at the Americans, Kurds, Iranians, and the Iraqi government, all of whom are blamed. Scarcity makes foes of everyone." Officials say nothing will improve if Iraq does not seriously address its own water policies and its history of flawed water management. Leaky canals and wasteful irrigation practices squander the water, and poor drainage leaves the fields so salty from evaporated water that women and children dredge huge white mounds of salt from sitting pools of runoff. There's no water in the river that we drink from. It's now totally dry, and it contains sewage water. They dig wells, but sometimes the water just cuts out. We have to drink from the river. The kids are getting sick because of the water. So, what about the kids? The farmers, reed gatherers, and buffalo herders keep working, but they say they cannot continue if the water stays like this. The marshes there that were intentionally reflooded in 2003, rescuing the ancient culture of the marsh Arabs, are drying up again. Sheep graze on the land in the middle of the river. So next winter will be the final chance, said a 73-year-old farmer who lives in a bone-dry village west of the marshes. If we are not able to plant, then all the families will have to leave. And yes, climate change is real. Climate change has already happened. It's happening. And it's continuing. And all these and all this are more signs of the end times transition days. The transition is ongoing. It's continuing and happening all around the world, day by day, every day.